How's it going, all you beautiful people? It's your boy Wardy, and as you can see, we're back at it discussing a topic that shouldn't shock anyone if you follow WardyNYM and know the type of rumor content that we do as we get to the offseason. That is Shohei Ohtani, but the question today is, why are we discussing Shohei? So glad you asked. It's because over the past 24 hours, recent reporting has connected the Mets to Shohei Ohtani and how they're deemed not only as a potential team to land him, but a potential favorite now. Why exactly is this? What are the biggest hurdles in the way of landing Ohtani? Where will Ohtani prefer to land? What can the Mets do to sway him? What type of interest level do they actually have here? Is this a right move actually for the Mets to still go heavily after Ohtani, even after the injury he sustained? What teams are in the way of the Mets landing this superstar player? And so much more is what we're about to deep dive. But before we go further into the video, I have to let you all know how you, right now, can enter for your chance to win a WardyNYM signed jersey. Black jersey, pristine auctions where the jersey came from, shout out to them. But this is all because of our great friends and today's video sponsor in Mojo Fantasy. Mojo Fantasy is a DFS app that has taken the game by storm right now, just recently became public, having a lot of my current followers and subscribers playing and enjoying already, which is great. It's legal in over 20 states, and all you need to do to enter for your chance at winning this jersey, no, you don't need to jump through hoops. No, you don't need to deposit $1 billion. All you got to do is click the link in the description, my WardyNYM unique link for Mojo Fantasy, and download their app from said link in the Apple Store. It is that simple. Click the link, download the app, and you are automatically entered for your chance at winning this jersey. What makes this giveaway so great versus, say, doing a normal YouTube channel giveaway where I have over 23,000 subscribers, which I'm beyond humbled and grateful for, but if I'm randomly handpicking one person out of 23,000, your odds aren't nearly as great as this giveaway, in which if we have 50, 100, 150, 250, 1,000 plus people, that number is still far lower than the 23,000. So it's all indicative on how many of you go out of your way to simply click the link and download the app. That is going to indicate how many people are going to do this and automatically enter. Again, the steps are so simple. Just download the app, folks. Tell your friends, tell your family members if they want to get involved. This is the easiest way to win a fantastic WardyNYM signed jersey giveaway today, and that is by checking out my good friends on Mojo Fantasy by clicking the link in the description and downloading their app and the Apple Store today. Do those steps, you're automatically entered, and shout out in advance to whoever wins that we'll be announcing in a couple weeks, and also shout out Mojo Fantasy for being the sponsor of today's video. Giveaway entry ends in the next week or so make sure you're clicking the link in the description, downloading the app today. That's simple to enter, and good luck to all of you for doing exactly that, and thank you again for doing so. But let's talk about Shohei Ohtani now. This is my second attempt at making this video today. First video was around 12-13 minutes long. Was actually happy with what I discussed, but there was one key topic that I forgot to emphasize, so I want to do that exactly now to make sure I don't forget. So first of all, this all stems from reporting that came from everyone's favorite beat writer, or at least the favorite of many, Ken Rosenthal, a short schmuck like me who does a great job covering baseball as a whole through not only Fox, but also that we see through The Athletic, and is a reoccurring guest on the Foul Territory live show on YouTube. And over the past 24 hours or so, he discussed the Ohtani pursuit and said that yes, while the Dodgers have been the favorites for an extended period of time, you can never count out Steve Cohen and those Mets. And he said, while there are some other teams I expect to be in that mix, he did not make mention of the Padres. Why, you might ask? Because the Padres look like a team that will be lowering payroll next season and the years going forward, so that helps the Mets in this potential pursuit, because we all know how crazy AJ Preller can be from years past and off seasons with the Padres, in which they have not had the success that they're hoping for, eerily similar to the Mets in that regard. But then you also see the Yankees. Ken Rosenthal does not believe to be in that mix whatsoever. Not shocked by that either. The same way that Buster only said the Yanks were going to be pushing hard for Ohtani at the trade deadline. Yeah, what else you smoking, Buster? Clearly it's good stuff, because you have no clue what planet you're on. But let's get back to reality here, which is that the Mets have a true chance at landing Shohei Ohtani, who's, as Rosenthal may know, while you can not only not count out Steve Cohen, I'm firmly under the belief, meaning I'm speaking on Ken Rosenthal's behalf here from what he said, I believe it's going to come down to the Dodgers and the Mets in the pursuit of Ohtani. Who's going to win this war? That is what we're going to find out. But what I want to emphasize here is a lot of things, because yes, the Dodgers have been the team that we have known far too long has checked off most boxes to land Shohei Ohtani. And of course, guys, if you're first chiming in the video, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel for consistent Mets coverage. The #1 Mets YouTube channel here on the platform, not directly affiliated with the team or SNY. Thank you so much in advance for the endless support. But now let's get back into this a little bit, because a couple of things I want to emphasize here, and I want to know your initial reactions, comments below, because you're probably wondering, Wardy, of course we're talking about Ohtani again. Of course we are, because this is a polarizing topic. This is not just any Joe Schmo player. This is the face of Major League Baseball, a unicorn, a truly dominant player that even if his right arm isn't working to pitch for the next year plus, you know he's going to be an absolute stud in the DH position with over 40 home runs, 100 RBIs like he has done this year, and 135 games. He's just that good, and he's so market changing. For whoever lands him will not only bring them in more money, even though they'll be losing a lot by investing in him, but the market will change, the fan base will change, so many factors will change for any team that has the luxury, the privilege to land the unicorn himself this offseason and Shohei Ohtani. But going back to the boxes, why are the boxes checked off so much with the Dodgers? It's out west. Okay, it's not far from where the Dodgers play and the Angels, right? So if he doesn't want to go far, if he wants to enjoy that beautiful LA weather, he can go and stay there. If he wants to be on a consistent competitor, a team that's contending for a championship every year, that has been for the past decade plus, that has dominated the NL West for the most part, there's the LA Dodgers, another reason to want to be with them. You want to be with an organization that has structure, that doesn't just know what it takes to win, but has a winning culture, that is the opposite of that, pardon my French, shit show that you see there in Anaheim, thanks to the Artie Moreno ran Angels. That favors the Dodgers among many other factors. So let's get into why this makes sense for the Dodgers to land him, why Ohtani should be appealed with the Dodgers, but also why Ohtani should be appealed with the Mets, and why that reality is far greater than maybe what a lot of people seem to realize. For the Dodgers, briefly, they've done this pursuit for a while, right? They didn't bring back Trey Turner. They have let go of some great stars in recent free agencies, knowing that those guys are getting $200 to $300 million contracts because in hand they want Shohei Ohtani and they're so adamant about landing him. Now, question for the Dodgers here is, if they have, say, a deep playoff run this year, let's say they have to run and win the whole dance, just speaking hypothetically, does their interest level stay the same in Ohtani, wanting to shell out around $500,000 for a guy in which you don't know when he's going to pitch again? And when he does pitch, is he going to be that Cy Young caliber pitcher that he once was prior to his injury that basically created a second Tommy John situation for the most part? That's a fair question. Now let's get on to the Mets here, the pursuit. Okay, this is a team that wants to be marketable, that has been in recent years, but has had a lack of success. They have been inconsistent. They have been able to handle that Japanese market well, thanks in part because of guys like Kodai Senga, who they brought in recently. I love seeing the diversity at the ballpark that Kodai Senga brought in his rookie year, which was such a great one with the Mets. Now just imagine that times a billion here with Shohei Ohtani. You know, like, this shouldn't shock anyone, especially knowing the type of descent, the type of background that people have that currently live in Flushing, Queens. I mean, that is right up the alley in which that would not only be marketable, but it could really take over the town. I truly believe that if Shohei Ohtani came to Queens, he would not only take over the city by storm, but he would take over sports media as we know it. The talking point is, as we speak, is on Ohtani when the guy isn't even in New York. Just imagine what it will be when the guy is in New York, as again, the most dominant player that we've ever seen at Major League Baseball level. He is just that good. And we know Steve Cohen wants to bring in a star like him. He has no issue spending the dough. That has never been the problem. But now, what are the key factors, you might wonder? It's the Mets' future. This is a team that is deemed to be competitive in 2024, but to what extent? Right? If they're going to heavily pursue Shohei Ohtani, that means they're going all in on 2024, baby. Do not think for a second that the Mets are not going to have a heavy push here to not only be a good team next year, but make playoffs and have a deep run. Because if they're pursuing Shohei Ohtani, which is exactly what they're doing, and you have to trust the word of Ken Rosenthal, who has been on the money with so much, covering all things Mets and baseball over the past couple years since we started the channel, you have to know that by them having this heavy pursuit, by Steve Cohen having these deep pockets that he has, that this is going to ultimately cause the Mets to be a team in 2024, say, should they land him, that automatically makes them a constant, a continued competitor. But is that what the Mets want? Or do they have a bigger priority in a Yoshinobu Yamamoto, young MPB star pitcher that the Mets desperately need for their rotation, for example, and other players? How do the Mets want to allocate their money here? Do they see a future where if they sign Shohei Ohtani for the next decade, even if he cannot pitch until 2025, in which he might not be signing caliber again, we will not know until that time presents itself, is this enough of a risk, a gamble for the Mets to take that they believe is worthwhile, because they will be a continued, consistent competitor for the next 5, 6, 7 7, 8 years. Do they feel confident in that? Do they feel confident in what they built or what they're about to build now with David Stearns at the helm at present baseball operations? Billy Epler staying as GM for now in part doesn't hurt, knowing he's the guy that brought in Billy Epler, brought in Shohei Ohtani rather a couple years ago to the States with the LA Angels to begin with. Point being is, with the Mets having a lot of these question marks about their own future, landing Shohei Ohtani means the type of direction that they're going in. If they do not land him, and if, say, they do not show a heavy pursuit for whatever reason, there is exact reasons for that go beyond just Ohtani's interest level or lack thereof in the club, but also knowing that the Mets are a team that want to be smart about how they allocate their dollars, and maybe they feel that $500 million over 10 years for, a guy in which he cannot pitch, he can only bat and do great at it for the next couple of years, but we don't know what we're going to get from the pitching element. Maybe that's not worthwhile on the team's end, even though right now it firmly believes that they're going to have a heavy pursuit of him, and when the Steve Cohen wants something, he does all he can to land him, as long as that they are insured and they are not a risk, a ticking time bomb, in which the Mets doctors felt by at least half a dozen, not a full dozen doctors on Carlos Correa's ankle, in which Correa has had an underwhelming season for the Twins, to say the least, in his first year on the $200+ million deal to stay there in Minnesota. So getting back to the moral story here, Mets Dodgers, that is a surprise to absolutely nobody, that they look like the two-headed monster to compete, to fight against one another to land the coveted star in Shohei Ohtani. So my question to you now, if you're a Mets fan, if you're a Dodgers fan, whoever you are a fan of, I want to know, who do you think is going to win this bidding war? What type of final dollars do you expect from Ohtani? If you're a Mets fan, do you want the Mets to go all in on Ohtani? Do you think that he is worth the potential risk for a Mets team that if they don't have things certain, why would you want them to have a $500+ million man that is just going to be batting for at least the next year, committed to you, locked down, when you don't even know how you're going to look for the next couple years? But if it's the other way around, you can understand the argument. And for Dodgers fans, same applies. How bad do you want Shohei Ohtani? Do you think the Dodgers are still the favorite to land him? Which favorite amongst the two here between the Mets and the Dodgers do you think is likely to land him? And overall, I just want to know how you're feeling on the Ohtani front, guys. We're going to be talking about this endlessly throughout the offseason. It's going to tire some of you guys, and I completely understand, but this is not just any Joe Schmo player. This is the face of baseball, and anytime that the face of baseball, injured elbow or whatever it is connected to the New York Mets, and great reporters rather, reliable reporters, the best in the game, and Ken Rosenthal, Jeff Passan, etc., are the ones that are relaying this message, relaying their personal beliefs and info. When there's smoke, there's fire. So all I'm saying is buckle up for the Ohtani rumor mill, because it is going to be quite the ride this offseason, and I'm sure it is just the beginning. So fans, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for consistent Mets content. We got a lot of big topics that we'll be discussing regarding other elite players in baseball right now and their uncertain futures, how they could potentially land in Queens, what is the face of the Mets managerial front heading into the offseason, and so much more is what we will be deep diving. But until then, have a great rest of your night, day, evening, whenever you're watching this. This is your boy Wardy signing out. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.